Well, good evening if you're joining us live, and if you're catching the replay, you could be catching us in the morning, the afternoon, or the evening. So we'll say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter what time of day it is. And this is our broadcast of the Fireplace Show. And the Fireplace Show is a consumer oriented show that we produce by CVC Success Group. And we try to have a guest on every week. And what we try to bring you is helpful things about your fireplace, about your chimney, other things. And tonight, just like usual, I got a special guest on to help me share the information with you. And his name is Robby Murphy. And Robbie is in Poughkeepsie, New York. So, Robbie, why don't you tell the folks a little about what your company is and what your job role is there at Hudson Valley Chimney?
Thank you, Jer. Hudson Valley Chimney, like you mentioned, upstate New York, a couple hours north of New York City. Been in business since 1976. I'm currently the president of the company. My father, the CEO, and I'm taking it over from my father, Bill, slowly. And we service most of the Hudson Valley, about an hour in each direction from our location here in Poughkeepsie. And we just pride ourselves in quality work and great customer service and communication.
Yeah, and for people that aren't from New York, Robbie, if I say you're about halfway between Albany, New York, and New York City, would that be a pretty accurate location for where you're sitting at?
Yep, pretty dead on.
Okay. In fact, people from Poughkeepsie actually commute to New York City on the train every day, I believe, don't they?
Yes, they do.
There you go. So anyway, Robbie, we talk about chimney sweeps, and we're going to talk about what chimney sweeps do tonight in this and the services they provide. But the word chimney sweep is probably a misnomer. In fact, your company is probably more of a chimney specialty contractor these days. So let's tell the folks a little bit, what are some of the services that Hudson Valley provides to your market area?
Um, Pretty much everything chimney related, but just a little tidbit. The company used to be Hudson Valley Chimney Sweeps, and then my father did change the name to Hudson Valley Chimney Service. So it's much more than just sweeping chimneys. And usually we just go by Hudson Valley Chimney, kind of keeps it broad. But everything from the Mary Poppins of brushing the chimney to laying brick, fixing the exterior of someone's chimney, the interior, installing fireplace doors, installing gas, wood, and pellet stoves, and inserts and fireplaces. Pretty much everything from the top of the cap all the way down to the foundation of the chimney is every aspect of the chimney and every part of the chimney that you can touch. We do repair and service.
Yeah. And in your market area, people commonly will heat their homes with both fuel oil and gas. Would that be a correct assumption on my part?
Yep, fuel, oil, gas, propane, some natural gas is up here, and still a lot of wood.
Gotcha. So in your services, your technicians need to be proficient in oil, they need to be proficient in gas, they need to be proficient in wood and pellet, all those type of things. Plus, they've got to have the skills of chimney repair, relining, masonry work. So there's a lot of skills involved in doing this. Would that be correct?
Yes, it's much more than just sweeping chimneys and writing proposals and doing the work. You've got to know the details, the in and outs, the numbers. Everything has a science to it. Why smoke goes up a chimney. There's a very large science to that people don't understand. It just doesn't always go up. Sometimes you need to force it up. Other times you need to really be prepared to calculate what it's going to take to get the fireplace, to work the way it should.
Yeah. So, you've been in this business, Robbie, I believe since you came out of high school, and you probably don't remember your daddy ever doing anything different than chimney work. So how have you seen the chimney service industry change in the years you've been in? I mean, I've been in it 40 years now, and you're in less, but what have been some of the major changes you have seen in your career?
Um, I guess probably the biggest is EPA and emissions, and it does and it can hurt our industry with people going to electric, getting away from wood. The restrictions on wood stoves have been crazy these past few years, so it's pretty tough for these companies to really have an EPA rating on some of these stoves. That's probably the biggest thing. And it's big for us up here with wood. A lot of people burn wood in the Northeast. We do install a lot of wood stoves still, but a lot of people are going to gas or switching to solar or geothermal and all that. So that's pretty huge. I know the Northeast isn't as big as other areas of the country for that stuff, but that's definitely something that's taking a toll on our business. But we have to fight back and learn about the other ways how we can help people heat their homes. We definitely try and not to just stick to the old school way of the fuel oil, which is slowly dwindling away, the wood, which is slowly dwindling away. We're just trying to fix what we can, but luckily we do have a lot of old homes here, and most of them need chimney work, so that does help us.
Got you covered. And you said something a while ago. So you're seeing a lot of people that are installing electric fireplaces today. Are you seeing much of the electric fireplaces?
Here and there, not crazy. They're not taking over anything, but it is a nice, cheap, low cost alternative to installing a wood stove or a gas stove. And it provides a little bit of ambiance, and some of them do provide some heat. And honestly, some of them are very nice. They'll fool some folks walking in. They'll have no idea that it's not a real fire. They can be 5, 6, 7 feet long, pretty amazing looking fireplaces. So definitely not taking over, but it is a nice alternative to an expensive installation and cutting holes and stuff in your roof.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to cover you tonight, Robbie, was I want to give a little overview of what a chimney service company does today, because the name chimney sweep probably is not the correct term. Like I said, you're more of a chimney specialty contractor this day and time. Y'all rebuild, y'all do all types of repairs, you reline, you actually change out fireplaces, different things, changes steel fireplaces that may have rotted out, prefabs that may have gone bad. There's a lot of things that are going on out there. But here would be a question I would ask you, because you actually are the person that would make the hiring decisions there at Hudson Valley. That's part of what you do in your job role. So if somebody's listening to us and they were considering a career in the chimney sweep industry, what would you want that person to be aware of? What would be the things that you would want them to know so they could approach this as a true profession, which it is?
And it is, thank you for saying that, it is a true profession, which most people don't realize. They either laugh or have no clue that it's actually a real thing. And it's a pretty awesome career. I love it. The people I employ love it. And most of the people that I hire and that are on board with me right now, I've never touched a chimney, have never swept a chimney, have never seen a chimney. It's rare if somebody has chimney experience. Like myself, it's usually family orientated, or they just did it back in the heyday as a side job. But coming on board, the main thing we're looking for, of course, is personality wise, is being a nice person. That's the biggest thing, dealing with people in their homes. That's the biggest thing I care about. Having carpentry background, construction background, masonry background is definitely a plus. It'll definitely get you at a higher level when you start. But definitely not something that's required. But the field itself is just amazing. You're at a different home every day. You're meeting different customers every day. You're not doing the same exact thing day in and day out. It's not repetition. You're not sitting at a desk. You're not sitting inside. You're out in the elements, which are usually nice, except in the wintertime. But even then, it's just nice being outside and just breathing in fresh air every day. And definitely the people that we work with, the people that we have here, they're all great people, and that's most of the chimney companies that you and I deal with across the country. We work at a high level, and we don't like to have bad apples and whatnot. And it's not easy to find good people, but there's definitely good people out there that are wanting to work hard and work outside and just build things with their hands.
I got you. And one of the guys that came on wanted to say, hey, was James Owens.
Hey, Dan.
James is a guy, owns a company in the Charlotte, North Carolina market area. That's where I'm sitting at right now. So, Robbie, let's take it a little further. we're not going to find people that are going to have the skills we need to be successful in this business. So let's say that you, or it could be James through Chris that works with him, or anybody else, and you hire a new guy and he's got basic math skills. He can read a tape measure. He may have done some carpentry work. He knows a little bit about power tools. But again, we're a specialized trade. So, what is your approach when this guy comes to work for you? How do you bring him up to speed on his training? And one of the things people need to be aware of, you are a company that expects and you do require your people to go through industry certification, which involves training and taking tests and those kind of things. But what's your approach as a manager to new people that you would hire? If a new guy came to work with you tomorrow, what does he need to anticipate as far as that training? Are you just going to turn him loose on the job one day?
No more turning loose on the job. First day is now spent classroom setting, in the training room, full. It's about a 8 to 10 hour day. Can't just throw you out in a truck. It's definitely nice to go through the CVC platform on the first day. Chimneys 101 just gets the terminology in their head. What is a chimney? Why does a chimney do this? Why does a chimney do that? What's a damper? What's a flue? How to say these words. And I've definitely noticed even that one day, that's their first day. Within the first week, they're saying things that, they shouldn't be knowing, but now they do know because they watch that. And it's just the classroom setting, but it is totally helpful. It breaks them in. It really gets them to understand what this stuff is doing. And it groups it all, a bunch of stuff into that one day, which is great. After that, it is in the field. And then from there on, there's ongoing classroom training, ongoing hands-on training, trade shows if we can get to them in the local area we go to. Sometimes we'll bring folks like yourself, Jerry, to us to train us. And it's great having the resources out there. All the companies, all the vendors, they have training, and it just helps myself be able to have a path for these guys to really understand what it's going to take to become successful.
There's an interesting question just came up on the screen there. It's a shame this is an awesome industry, but there's no retirement funding for chimney sweeps, especially the independent chimney sweeps. But is that necessarily true, or do you have a retirement program at your company, Robbie?
We do. We have a 401k that we contribute 3% just voluntarily. That's the plan that we have. We want people to save money. We put money in people's pools. We don't want you to just live paycheck to paycheck, and I don't think anybody here does. But we do. We have all the good stuff that people want: health insurance benefits, 401k, paid time off, paid birthday off, everything. Most of the things, sign-on bonuses were just initiated this past year. But we definitely want, whether you stay with us forever or you stay with us for a few years, we want to make sure that you are accruing some type of savings, in the background, and it's not just a job, and you're not just living paycheck to paycheck. And know for a fact, none of our people do, and they've got families and homes and all that good stuff. And we definitely like to make sure that everything is taken care of.
Yeah. From a career standpoint, Robbie, what's the longest term employee? How long has he worked for you? And because he was there before you came to work there, how long has your longest term employee worked with Hudson Valley now?
Larry, I believe 2021, I believe this year is 30 years for Larry. I was born in 92, and I'm pretty sure he was already here before I was born. So that was Larry, and he's going on 30 years, and I don't think anybody's gonna match that. But you don't get that very often, and he's been with us for a super long time. And I couldn't ask for a better dedicated employee, long-term, knowledgeable, customer devoted. Trains most of the people that come on to be sweeps. They go with him and ride with Larry. It's great. Definitely great having him, and great having somebody with that much experience that people can go to. Besides myself, they love coming to me, but it's nice they can go to him as well and they can help.
Right. Well, I can remember having Larry in training classes that I used to come. I would come to Albany and present classes on occasion back in the 80s. And I can remember having Larry along with your dad in classes, way back in the 80s and 90s, of both of them being in classes. In fact, that's how I got to know your dad originally. First time I ever met your dad, I was actually teaching a class in Sturbridge, Massachusetts, and your dad attended, and that's where I got to know your dad originally some years ago. So, Robbie, one of the things that you also do is you're doing continuing education with your people. You have training meetings, but in the first year, how many hours of classroom education would you inject that you expect one of your people to go through in that first year of employment?
Oh boy, first year between. I mean, everybody equally becomes certified within the first, after about 6 months, you do become certified and take the test. And you've got to go through CVC's platform of 16-hour course. There's another one you've got to complete. And that alone, you're probably going to have 20 hours in just for preparing for the certification test. Between that and what we put on bi-weekly, so twice a month, we have 1 hour, about an hour and a half training. That's, so you're pushing 50-ish, probably 40 to 50. And that's a lot for most people. Most companies don't do that, but it's definitely worth the investment in time you're taking away from making money. It's worth it in the end. It really can't look at it that way, because the long-term benefits of training and being prepared definitely pay off.
Yeah. And if they are coming to work for you, then this training is classroom training. They are paid to attend this. Am I correct?
Yep.
So, that's a pretty hefty investment on the company's part. And then you said every 2 weeks, you go through a hour to an hour and a half training with your people every 2 weeks. I know you use a lot of our stuff, a lot of our training that's on our online platform for this, but that's done. Where do you do this classroom training at? Are you just kind of scattered out in the warehouse, Robbie, or where do they do this at?
Our beautiful training room that we just built a few years ago, and then COVID kind of killed it. So we really shouldn't be indoors in confined spaces. We are 6 feet apart, but it's been kind of hit or miss. I mean, it's getting cold up here in the Northeast, so we're probably going to be going back inside. But we've been outdoors. 65-inch flat screen TV rolls around beautifully, and everybody just gathers out in the warehouse, and we're all separated. And just that's mainly for the techs. And there's about 12, 13 of us, so we're spread out as we need to be, and it's great having just a television just to broadcast this stuff through so everybody can see it. But yeah, we have a nice training room, but like everybody knows, most of us, it's kind of tough for us to be sitting shoulder to shoulder nowadays, but we make it work.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I remember being there. It was warm last time I was there, but I remember that my visit with you was on one of your regular training days, and I think I did about an hour and a half training that day for everybody, and it was nice. Yeah, we were doing it in the warehouse because of the COVID issues, but at the same time, this is something that you guys are very dedicated to, and this is also something that most companies around the country are dedicated to, because you do have the online training platforms where you can beam it in. And your classroom is also set up where we can do virtual live training, which I've done before from my office here, where we beam the trainings directly into you, where it's actually a live class. I'm just not sitting in the classroom with them.
Yeah, it's great. I love that.
Yeah. So another question, hire somebody new, and this person wants to apply themselves, and we'll say we're going to turn them into a chimney service technician. And that means where they're running a truck, they're running service calls, they're going out to homes, and they're in charge of a crew, and probably they'll even have a laborer or helper working with them. What's the anticipated time frame of moving somebody from a raw recruit into running a crew like that, Robbie?
Every person is definitely different. If I've had a few people in the past year, two guys come on board, and within 9 months they're certified, their name is on the driver door, and they're in their truck. That's for most people that's pretty quick, but it's the person that allows them to do that. They're trustworthy, they're mature, and one of them is he's younger than I am. He's in his 20s, but he just has his head on his shoulders. He's a smart, great guy. He's got a family to look after. So it really depends on how strong the person is and how willing they are to learn and how quickly they want to learn. But I'll never put somebody out in somebody's home without the knowledge that they need. And the certification, which, the certification is nice. It's a pat on the back, but ongoing and real world chimney diagnostics is huge. And how to do the work is just, it's not easy to obtain that in a short period of time, but I'd say 9 to 12 months is common. It's a little tougher for, I'd say, sweeps that go into 5 to 6 homes a day. Takes them a little bit more. They see a lot more than the other guys doing the work. They've got to diagnose a lot more. They've got to take tons and tons of photos, and they've got to report this stuff to the customer, and in a way the customer can understand it. So it is a little tougher for that person to be ready quicker. The person that's doing the, sweeps and the inspections and the report writing.
Yeah. So one of the things that you have to do in this industry, Robbie, is we got to work on roofs. We're going to be working from ladders. We're going to be working from scaffolding, and we're going to be working at heights a lot of times. So what's your emphasis on safety there, and how do you train these people to do the job safely where they're not injured, which isn't good for any of us?
Safety has skyrocketed in the last decade. Totally, you can ask any professional chimney sweep who cares about their people and their equipment. It's gotten huge. I tell at the end of every meeting, all right, guys, great meeting, and which is daily, and I say, go have a great day and please be safe. And whether they listen to me or not, I like to say it every day. The equipment we use, some of it, some people have never seen. My father back in the day purchased and made things that help us get things done quickly and efficiently. As Ready Scaff is one of those things some people have never heard of, and they see it's like, oh my goodness, it makes a flat platform on a roof that you feel safe on. I've definitely taken guys, and you can't just take people and say, all right, just step on the roof, but be careful. That doesn't work anymore because they're being careful. They don't know what that means. I know what it means, and I can get on a roof very easily, but these guys have no clue what that means. At the shop, we've got multiple roofs, a bigger roof, a smaller roof. So it's super nice for them to just take a few hours in the first few weeks of them being there and just walking around with a ladder, setting up scaffolding out in the driveway, standing on it, shaking it. How does this feel? Just real world stuff. Everything isn't beautiful and level and perfect. So they've got to understand this is what it's going to be like, and you need to be prepared. And if something bad happens, you need to be prepared. But how do you prevent the bad things from happening? So it's super important to everybody, and nobody will do something they're not comfortable doing, and I'll never make them do something they're not comfortable doing, and it's not safe. So, and everybody knows that. And I've purchased a lot of stuff recently in the past few years, just little things from ladder stabilizers and stuff like that, just to help. It's little stuff, but it's stuff they have on their truck, and they can put it on their ladder, and it makes them feel better, and they're not sliding all over the place. And scaffolding equipment, we've just broadened how the scaffolding is set up, how it's supported at the bottom, how it's tied into the roof. Stuff back in the heyday people didn't care about or really look into, but now it's way too important to overlook.
Yep, got you covered. Now, Robbie, one of the things are you and your dad both feel very strongly about helping this industry and gaining recognition and becoming as professional as possible. Would that be a true statement whenever I say that, Robbie?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so let me bring something else into play. Recently, you actually served as a volunteer and you went to Chicago for a couple days because the National Chimney Sweep Guild is going through an accreditation process for technicians in this industry. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about what that was like and what was the goal of that meeting? And that was all people that were just like you were industry members there. There was no trainers like me in that room. There were no coaches. This was all different people from around the country. There was male, there were female chimney service people there. And what was the goal of that? Tell a little bit about your feelings after being in that, because this was a group of what we called subject matter experts, which you are one. What was your thought process when you came out of that meeting?
Well, to start, I just opened the Sweeping magazine, which we get monthly. Opened it up, turned to the page, and there we were, the photo of us. There I was. It was pretty cool to see, myself in a magazine. But all of us were lined up, and there was a great article written about that in Sweeping magazine, which goes into some pretty good detail on what we did. But that was definitely a first experience for me. Youngest one there, like most things in the industry that I attend. It was great. Subject matter expert is definitely a good thing to call it, because all of us are those things. We just contributed in a big group, everything from what is a chimney sweep, how we define a chimney sweep, what their role is, what they need to know, the accreditation of these 3 tests that we're going to have through the NCSG is definitely going to move just the chimney service industry to definitely another level, and just it being taken seriously, which some people do, some people don't. It's still growing. It is, and at least in America, it's a very young industry. In Europe, it's not. So here, it's been going on for a long time, but there's a ton of room for it to grow. And getting these 3 exams accredited is going to be huge. And I'm definitely looking forward. It's going to take some time, but I'm definitely looking forward to doing a lot of positive things for this industry. And there's a lot of work left to do, but what we did just started the path for it. We set the ground rules. We got the ball rolling. We definitely all left there after 3 days, feeling very accomplished, definitely overwhelmed because there's a lot to this that people don't see. But it was a great feeling to be, among, my peers and other awesome people in the industry, including, James, who chimed in before he was there. And I'll definitely never forget it. And I hope I can keep participating in the next phase of it.
Right. But once this is completed, what they're doing is getting accredited through an organization called ANSI. And this is going to bring, in my opinion, the industry a much higher credibility, and where opinions will be much better offered and much higher believed. So here's the last thing for you, Robbie. Let's say that somebody's listening to us right now and they live somewhere in that New York corridor where you are, and they're interested in going to work for somebody like you. They like what they've listened to. So how does this person get in touch with you, Robbie, if they wanted to talk to Robby Murphy about a career?
Yeah, just picking up the phone and is the best thing. I mean, there's another person who looks at the people that apply, but I get every application that comes through, whether it be Indeed, Facebook, whether you apply right on the website. Indeed is the biggest one, but I mean, even just picking up the phone, I mean, I call everybody back. It doesn't matter what your resume is. It doesn't matter if you're, fresh out of high school. I will look at your resume and I will not just, throw it in the garbage. So definitely our website, which is great, easy to navigate, but just calling us, visiting our website, hudsonvalleychimney.com. But I definitely, I look forward to when people are interested and they want to come in and sit down with me. I love, sitting down for half an hour with folks and just going through their past history, their work history, what they want out of a job, if we can offer them what they're looking for. And usually people leave there smiling and happy and looking at the next level of what they can do. But some people come in to work too. If you want to come in and work for a day and just see what we're all about, you can come in, meet us, meet me, meet the guys, meet my father, and totally okay with that.
Yeah, that's what we call a ride along. And sometimes that's a pretty good process to figure out what does a chimney sweep do? What do they do out there? So that's another way you can come in, learn what this is all about. And if you're looking for it, I can assure you that Hudson Valley Chimney is a company that cares about their people. Would that be a good statement to make when I say that you and your dad really care about the people that work for you, Robbie? And I say that because I know what all you've done for some of your employees.
Oh yeah. I mean, just nothing about bragging, but it is what it is. There should be no reason, you come into work dreading it or feeling uncomfortable or feeling like you can't say something. It's open door. Come on in, speak to me, speak to my father, whomever, and if there's an issue, let me know. But there's really, really not many issues, and people are happy, and I want to make sure everybody's happy and on the same page. And like I said in the beginning, communication is key and huge, and that's all it takes is just being straight, honest with people and upfront, and everybody should be happy.
That's it. So, Robbie, I want to appreciate you taking your time. I know you've had a hard day, and I'm going to let you get on, finish your evening and all that. But anything else you would add to this before we check out of here tonight?
No, thank you, Jerry. Appreciate everything you do for us, for the industry, this ongoing, classroom, videos, training, live, everything is great, for the homeowners out there in the world, for the chimney sweeps in the world, and definitely much appreciated. I enjoy being a part of it, and I'm hoping more people join this amazing trade and industry. It's rewarding, and I love it.
Okay, brother. Well, I'll talk to you later, and we appreciate you being here with that. My name is Jerry Eisenhower. Our company is CVC Success Group. You can find us on the internet at cvcsuccessgroup.com. And if you're not in the Poughkeepsie, New York market area and you're listening to us, we have people just like Robbie across the country and states right and left that are looking for good people. They're looking for people that want to learn a career. They're willing to train you. So reach out to us here. And like I said, if you're in Poughkeepsie area, hey, look up Robbie. If not, and you're somewhere else in the United States, look us up here at CVC Success Group, and we'll help you get connected with a great employer just like Robbie. And with that, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on another edition of the Fireplace Show. Thanks a lot for joining us. Talk to you later.